This is important, and I'm glad you're joining us this evening. Next, I want to explain the procedures of this forum. We will begin with each candidate giving a 2-minute opening statement. And after the opening statements, I'll ask each candidate a question from a predetermined list created by the organizers of the event. All candidates will answer the same questions. Each candidate will have about 2 minutes to answer each question, and I will be timing them. So I will cut them off if they're going too long. At some point, I will open up the forum to the questions from those of you in the audience, those of you who are participating, and you can ask your questions on Zoom through the Q&A part at the bottom of Zoom. Just put your questions in there. Some of the candidates may choose to answer you there. So you look for that. And the candidates will be looking to see if you've asked them questions. At some point after that, I do want you to know that all the questions will be screened before I ask them publicly, and to avoid any duplication, and also to ensure that we are adhering to the guidelines and ground rules. If a question is directed to a specific person, we will have that person answer, and then everybody will have the chance to answer that question also, all of the candidates. And finally, near the end of the program, each candidate will be allowed to make a 2-minute closing statement. So let's get started. We have candidates joining us for this forum. We're thrilled to have 4 candidates joining us for this forum, and I'm going to introduce them in alphabetical order. Myron Freeman, Sheriff Ted Jackson, Patrick Labatt, and Charles Rambo. And welcome to each of you.
Good evening, and thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Good evening. Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, maybe I should have had you wave or nod or something so everybody knows, but your names are up on the screen. Let's get started with each candidate giving a 2-minute opening statement. And let's please begin with Myron Freeman.
Thank you. Thank you for having this forum. My name is Myron Freeman. I'm a native Atlantean, born at Great Hospital. I'm born in the Pittsburgh community. I went to W.H. Quabbin Elementary School, Luther Justin Price High School. I served in the United States Army as a military policeman. I'm a graduate of the FBI National Academy. I obtained a master's degree in public administration from Brown University, as well as my undergrad in criminal justice from Brown University. I've lived in this community for more than 35 years. Married to my wife, Pamela, and I have a 10-year-old daughter. As the next sheriff of Fulton County, I wanted to work to ensure our citizens that they have the comfort of knowing that their home, their children, their businesses are safe. And also as the next sheriff of Fulton County, I want to reduce crime and work together in these 15 cities with these law enforcement agencies in protecting our communities. And the third thing is protecting our children from sex trafficking. Thank you.
Apologize. I will try to stay muted most of the time, but I'll ask everybody else to mute most of the time so that we don't get any feedback. Thank you very much. Our next candidate is Sheriff Ted Jackson.
Good evening, and thank you for having us. I'm Sheriff Ted Jackson. I'm in my 12th year as sheriff. A little bit of background about me. I have an undergraduate degree in physics. Also have a certificate of public administration from the University of South California. Also, J.F. Kennedy School of Government. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I spent 30 years with the FBI, retired. Started as a street agent, worked my way all the way up to executive positions. My last position was special agent in charge of the FBI for the state of Georgia. After that, I retired in November 2003. In 2004, the governor appointed me interim sheriff from July 26th through December 31st. After that, I decided to run for office in 2008. I was one of 10 candidates. I came out as sheriff, took over January 2009, walked into a situation Sheriff's Office was considered the worst in the state of Georgia. From the first day on the job, I had every challenge you can imagine. We had a very tragic situation with a shooting in the courthouse, March 11, 2005. We didn't have a security plan as proposed by law, so we had to do a security plan. The jail was under receivership by the federal court. We had no reputation in the law enforcement community. Our employees' morale was low, no integrity, no honesty, no professionalism. The first day I had to create an organizational structure with a span of control, with a chain of command, so that employees knew who they reported to. Additionally, outreach in the community, we had no presence. We have 10 programs that we've had over the last 10 years. And in the law enforcement arena.
I hate to interrupt you, but that's your 2 minutes. Maybe you can get to some of the other things as we proceed. Thank you very much. Now, Patrick Labatt.
Hey, good evening. I'd certainly like to thank our host and our moderator. I am Patrick Labatt. I'm the retired chief from the City of Atlanta Department of Corrections, native Fulton County, from Frederick Douglass High School to Clark Atlanta University. I earned my master's degree in public administration from Columbus State University. My wife and I have a blended family, 4 grown adult children, and a rescue dog named Hugo. We live in Southwest Atlanta. My path to being chief was unique. I started my college career and my professional public safety career simultaneously. So I worked 11 at night to 7 in the morning, went to school during the daytime. And in 2010, I was appointed chief of the City of Atlanta Department of Corrections. I put together an outstanding team. We changed the city jail from a liability to an asset. And how we focused on that was to work beyond the walls of the jail. We constantly were in the community. That gave a boost of morale to the officers as well as our community. But what I'm most proud of is we got the agency's first accreditation with a perfect score of 100. And for 10 consecutive years, we maintained that score. Now, I'm extremely humble. The Georgia Jail Association awarded me twice, 2015 and last year in 2019, the Jail Administrator of the Year. I'd like to think that is actually due to my hard work ethic and as well as really the know how to get it done. Why me? People will tell you they got a day one plan. I have a right now plan that is ready to go immediately following the primary election. In an unprecedented area, it gives us 6 months to transition. I've already had a conversation with multiple mayors, multiple county leaders, and police chief. And again, we will begin to execute that plan immediately following the election. But first, I need your support and your vote.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry to interrupt, but your 2 minutes are over. We hope you can get it in later. We want to be fair, so everybody gets about the same amount of time, okay? Next, Mr. Charles Rambo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles Rambo. I am a native of Gary, Indiana, but I've been in the Fulton County district for over 32 years. Spent a lot of time down in South Fulton, so I'm not a stranger there. I live near Burdett Ridge. Currently, I live near Wolf Creek Amphitheater. Have participated in a lot of things at Welcome All Park, you name it. So I've been a part of your community, not just showing up when it's time for elections. I have what is most distinct amongst all of the candidates. In fact, when you put all the years together, I have 30 years of actual real major county sheriff expertise, actual experience of being in a sheriff's office, managing inside of a sheriff's office, teaching and leading and guiding deputies and officers throughout the county. In fact, I served as a senior instructor at the academy. And many of the officers that are present in your neighborhoods today, I actually played a hand in their training throughout South Fulton County. What makes me distinct is that I'm actually announcing an actual plan to get things done called constitutional policing, the only rule of law solution that really is applicable in this day and time. With COVID-19 has revealed a lot of flaws, not just inside of the sheriff's office, but also in the criminal justice system. What I want you to know is that I understand 100% the duties, the powers, the authority, what needs to be done to motivate the staff to get things back on track. I'm going to ask you right now, as we're moving forward, please go to my website at ramboforsheriff2020.com, and you can see and compare to the other incumbent as well as the candidates who has the best plan day one ready to get things done specifically for you, the people of Fulton County.
All right, thank you very much. Now we're going to go to the prepared questions, and I will start with Sheriff Ted Jackson. You will all answer the same question. And this question is, what is Fulton County's most pressing law enforcement issue as you see it? What is Fulton County's most pressing law enforcement issue? Sheriff Jackson?
Well, and that's a good question. In the law enforcement arena, when I first became sheriff, I called all the chiefs together with federal agency heads to work together. And since then, we've worked together in the county, 19 chiefs and state and federal agencies. We look at sex trafficking as a major issue, gangs and violent crime, drugs, cyber crimes, identity theft, and we're involved in all of those through federal task forces. So we work throughout the county. We concentrate in the South Fulton County. We have our commander, who's a former assistant chief of the Atlanta Police Department, that patrols South Fulton County and works with all the chiefs. There are 19 chiefs. We have a great relationship with all of them. And the crimes that I've mentioned to you are the ones we're addressing now as a county. And we're doing everything we can to keep the entire county safe. And the task forces are the best way to do it because we don't have the resources to work the whole county the way we should.
All right, thank you very much. For the same question for Patrick Labat. You'll have to unmute. It's hard to remember that.
Thank you again. I have three priorities: crime reduction, public safety, improving jail conditions, and repeat offenders. The first thing that has to happen in the sheriff's office is we have to focus on retention. Officers and deputies and civilians come to the sheriff's office, get trained, and they leave. I was the first to speak out when it came to having a conversation with each commissioner. I put together a call to action so that hazardous duty pay would be put on the table. It was not by accident that hazardous duty pay came up. I think the first thing we need to focus on, though, is looking at our repeat offender structure. It's been well documented that there are less than 500 people that commit 40 to 50% of the crime. We need a function of our law enforcement division that focuses on going after those bad actors. Look at our warrant division and our court division. We have to improve our efficiencies internally. I know the incumbent says that he meets with all the chiefs in the county. However, I would contend all the meetings in the world, we have to move beyond meeting just to be meeting. We have to look at crime as a whole in the metro area and understand that violent crimes is continuing to go up. You look in the law enforcement community, and the sheriff's office just simply has not been responsive. We have to focus on being more engaged in our communities and not waiting on others to step up.
All right, thank you very much. Myron Freeman. You'll have to unmute.
Okay, thank you very much. Sex trafficking. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I'm concerned about that because that's becoming a large issue. Also, the other thing is about crime in the community. My wife likes to go shopping, and I'm concerned about people getting robbed and shot up in Buckhead, cars broken into, homes when you go to work and you come back and your stuff is gone, and the businesses are being vandalized. Something's got to be done, and we need to have a presence in the community. When I was sheriff before, I had the SWAT team out in the community. Chatham-Hoocher Hill was starting a government. They didn't have a police department. We patrol that area because they pay taxes. That's an $84 million business, and something needs to be done. If you pay taxes, then you need to see your sheriff's office in the community, assisting these other police agencies. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. The largest issue that Fulton County is facing in crime is what we call hybrid criminal activity. Hybrid crime gives the actors of criminal enterprises the ability to recreate themselves at a moment's notice. And before prosecution or law enforcement can respond, they've moved on so far along. That include gang activity, sex traffic, you name it. But now things are kind of like at a halt. As we can see, crime is somewhat gone down, but the biggest challenge we're facing right now with COVID-19 is domestic violence. And here soon after domestic violence, we're also going to be dealing from out of the probate court, dealing with a lot of what we call order to apprehends, where we're going to have to possibly transport many persons who have been dealing with depression, dealing with suicide. So it's going to place a big load on the sheriff's office, who are tasked to do these through what we call temporary protective orders, as well as OTAs. And honestly, what has happened is that the sheriff's office manpower has depleted so down to almost nothing. They're down to just 2 shifts to cover an entire county. So we've got to retrain our deputies in terms of how to respond to crime in the 21st century.
All right, thank you very much. Next question for all 4 of you. What do you see as the sheriff's primary role? The sheriff's primary role, and let's start with Patrick Labatt.
First, great question. Look, everybody knows the constitutional responsibilities of the sheriff's office when it surrounds protecting the courts, actually maintaining the jail, and serving our warrants. We have a responsibility to now engage our youth. Our law enforcement as we know it has changed, not just because of COVID-19, but also because of technology. Look at how we focus on crime as a whole. We should be able to leverage that technology, create an environment that makes technology useful to us so that we can begin to create a stronger law enforcement division. Criminals know right now where we are with respect to even this very forum. I would suggest to you that those that are meaning to do bad are here. We have to do a better job of meeting with our local police chiefs. And I don't mean the monthly meeting from that perspective, but really focusing on not a partnership, but building relationships. I've already begun to do that. I met with multiple police chiefs so that we can meet them where their needs are. And the unique situation here is, as much as we don't want to discuss it, there are 2 counties. There's South County and North County. It's amazing how the incumbent put out a message a month or 2 ago that suggested that he was the reason that Johns Creek was 33rd in the nation with respect to safety and how crime was down there. What about the remainder of the county? We have to do a better job of focusing on that. So that's where we start.
All right, thank you very much. Charles Rambo.
Yes, ma'am. First and foremost, the sheriff is enumerated from the Georgia's Constitution as being a constitutional and county officer at the county level. He acts as an agent of the state. So with that, he is also deemed as being by the Georgia General Assembly as the chief law enforcement officer. Unfortunately, over the past 20 years, we have not had the leadership that has stepped forward to make that declaration in leading law enforcement efforts in the county, making the making the workforce to feel proud about working in an agency that has sovereign authority to get to the bottom of issues in our county. If you'll notice, it was Governor Kemp here recently. I'm not asking anyone to agree with his politics, but when he first came out with his executive order, he directed it specifically and emphatically to the sheriffs of each county because they were uniquely constitutional officers that had total power inside of the agency to get done what needed to be done. So again, I call upon, particularly the incumbent, in a respectful way, How prepared were we as an agency with total manpower that was trained in the duties, the powers, and the sovereign authority to know what they were doing when they were going out into the community to enforce on behalf of the sheriff's office?
All right, thank you very much. Myron Freeman, what do you see as the sheriff's primary role?
Well, the sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer in the county. The sheriff works for the people. So you need to be connected to the community to find out what people want. I don't work for no county commissioner. I don't work for no board. I don't work for no city council. I work for the people. The people are paying taxes. It's an $84 million business and we need to give them customer service. Crime. They want this crime stopped or reduced. That's the issue in Fulton County. And as the next sheriff, you will see officers in the community. They're serving papers anyway, so they will be in the community protecting these communities because the citizens are paying for it.
All right, thank you very much. Sheriff Ted Jackson.
Thank you. I'd like to clear the record. I am the sheriff, and all that the candidates are saying we're already doing. And the main mission of the sheriff's office, yes, is the chief and law enforcement officer in the county. We use that wisely. We work with everyone. We're behind the scenes, not out front. Our main mission is to provide a safe and secure jail. We've done that. We've come from under a consent decree, provide security for the courthouse. We have state-of-the-art security that we've never had before. And in law enforcement, we work with our law enforcement partners and associates. We address the problems for the county. All you hear from the candidates is what they're going to do. We're already doing it. And as part of our mission, outreach is very important. So we have programs for our young people. We do senior safety tips. We work with the homeless. We have 160 chaplains as part of our outreach program so we can reach out to the community and be present. And lastly, we do patrol, but we're behind the scenes. We don't disrespect any chief. We work with the chief. A good sheriff will work with folks and not confront them. We work with the county commissioners. We work with everyone to protect this, not only the residents of the county, but to get our job done professionally.
All right, thank you very much. The next question, what is the biggest need of the sheriff's department now? And what would you do to fill that need? And let's start with Charles Rambo.
Well, thank you. The first need is that we need to get the jail back into a constitutional condition. These are not my words. These were words that were put inside of articles as well as reports from, if I'm not mistaken, the Department of Justice that essentially called the Fulton County Jail, specifically the South Annex where women were housed, as barbaric and inhumane. Now, I'm going to put it on record and we can debate it back and forward. I'm back in this race is because I was a part of and took lead in getting those facilities on the route towards constitutional conditions, including day-to-day training of line staff, supervisors, managers, and executives. And I worked pretty well and worked real hard to make sure that we had a system called CompStat that brought that jail from up under consent decree. And now we're right back inside of that. So with that, once we get the jail in order, people will not want to come back to a jail that is structured, that is disciplined, and that has holistic programs that says you can't come in here being the same person that you were. You cannot come in here and think you're going to go back out and be a criminal all over again. And based upon 60 days in, you can see that. I'm not making this up. 60 days in made the place out to be as if it was Jurassic Park. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to do better. And I believe the incumbent had a whole 12 years to get that done. I was a part of that administration to want to help get it done. But now we can see in terms of where it's going. And I'm not making that up.
Right. Thank you very much. Myron Freeman.
Okay. All right, am I unmuted?
You're unmuted.
And repeat the question again, please.
All right. The question is, what's the biggest need of the sheriff's department now? And what would you do to fulfill that need?
The biggest need, when I was at the sheriff before, I hired 200 and I hired 260 people in less than 6 months. You got to have staffing, but I also increased the salaries of the employees there to bring it up to standards where we can hire good people. I raised the detention officer and deputy salaries, and that's what's going on now. You've got to have the people to do the job, and we want people on the streets, in the communities, helping protect these citizens. They're sick and tired of being scared. They're tired of being robbed. They're tired of being mugged. They're tired of being their houses broken into. They want to see law enforcement in the community. Criminals are working together. We need to work together. And the sheriff's office need to be visible in the community. That's the biggest need.
All right, thank you very much. Sheriff Ted Jackson.
Again, I am the sheriff. I know the truth. And Union City is not despicable. We're no longer under review. We've only had the place for 2 years and we fixed it. I see the biggest problems is reentry. We have 2 grants from the Department of Justice and Health and Human Services, $1 million each, to help inmates when they get out, not recidivate. We also need to work with the young people to keep them out of the system. Additionally, mental health is a major problem. 21% of our inmates have serious mental health issues. The county and the sheriff's office are working together to try to overcome that. We have no options with mental health. It's a problem throughout the nation. It's a problem throughout Georgia, and it's a problem in Fulton County. And we look at that as a major problem, and we're working with it. We have programs to deal with it, not only with mental health, but other issues. Our philosophy is to help the inmates when they are released to not come back, and also work with the youth to make sure they don't get caught up in the system.
Thank you very much. Patrick Labat.
Again, a great question. And absolutely, the sheriff is absolutely correct. A federal judge did not call the Union City Jail or the annex despicable. He called it repulsive. It is absolutely a shame that, literally, I have a wife and 2 daughters. And for it to be proven, documented, that young ladies were out at the annex without having a shower for months on end, for the county commissioners to have to then add additional staff to do the sheriff's job. And I mean, when you talk about a release processor, these are functions that already should be within the department. So it will require an internal review of all systems to make sure efficiencies are being taken care of. The jail, as the incumbent mentioned, is the main crux of the problem, but I contend that we can do more. We have to do more. We have to do a SWOT analysis, recognize what our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. We have to do a full budget analysis. We have to create an environment where, again, we have to be simultaneously focused or multitasking. And again, I have to go back to the repeat offender. You have a situation where 40 to 50% of the crimes are being committed by less than 500 people. Our Fulton County Sheriff should set the tone for law enforcement in and throughout, not just the county, but the state. We're falling behind. The buck has not stopped anywhere over the last 14 to 18 years. It will stop with me.
Thank you very much. The next question, what would you do to improve the operations and conditions at the Fulton County Jail? And let's begin with Myron Freeman.
Operations.
Thank you very much. Well, to answer that question, that's a good question. You can't put 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound bag. That jail, when it was built, it was too small. It was built for 1,200 beds, and then they double bunked and made it 2,500 beds. That was in 1991 or something when they moved in it. It's 2020. Population has increased in the counties. Of course, when population come, growth come, crimes come. You're going to keep going round and round and round the pole. The issue is you got to have another jail. But we've got a jail sitting over in the city of Atlanta with over 400 beds in it. It's not used and designed what it was used for. What it was built for. And the taxpayers of Fulton County and the city of Atlanta has paid for that jail. I don't understand why you don't take that jail and use it, and that's going to take care of the problem until you can build one.
All right, thank you very much. Sheriff Ted Jackson.
I want to clear the record again. I wish my opponents would tell the truth, and maybe they don't know the truth. Union City, again, I'll say the federal court has released us and there is no issues. And I take it personal because our employees work very hard. We got a professional chief jailer with a staff that's working very hard, and I appreciate it if you stop attacking him. Well, one of the things that I look at is that the Fulton County Jail is the main jail for men. Union City's for women. We've done everything we could possibly do with the jail. The county is looking at future options. And right now, the option for Atlanta Detention Center, they're discussing it. It doesn't appear to be the answer. We're discussing long-term. This morning, we got the lowest population we've had since I've been sheriff in 12 years. We had 2,096 at Fulton County, Fulton County Jail for the men, and 175 for the women. So over the last 5 weeks, because of COVID-19, we've reduced our population by 700. So we're moving in the right direction, and we just don't know what the future is going to hold when we return back to normal. But right now, we're doing everything we can. Our employees work hard, they're dedicated. We're a little bit understaffed, just like everybody else, because we're all competing for the same employees. And our employees' morale is high, they work very hard, and they don't deserve to be picked on.
All right, thank you very much. Patrick Labatt.
First of all, facts are a very stubborn thing. The sheriff or the incumbent is really in a space where facts are the facts. You shouldn't have to wait on COVID-19 to be proactive about getting misdemeanors out, whatever that looks like, and reducing your population. But here's something that's really important, and I want to be known. First of all, the former sheriff was a little inaccurate. They're not 400 beds, they're 900 beds at the City of Atlanta Department of Corrections. I took an opportunity for over a year to call the incumbent to just have a discussion. Let's go out to have a snack, a lunch, so that we can discuss how we can best serve our citizens of Fulton County. It is even more disrespectful, not only as the chief of a major department within the city, to understand that while DeKalb County had a problem, we housed 400 inmates. The U.S. Marshals had a problem, we housed almost 600 inmates. These are facts. And so the thing that we have to understand is right now, getting out from under federal consent decree, the incumbent wasted millions of dollars to be in the same place. So for 12 years, to say that COVID-19 is the reason that the population has been reduced is really not the answer. Again, we're just in a place that, look at the facts. Between two sheriffs, they lost the Triple Crown accreditation. You wouldn't have to regain it if you hadn't lost it. And so again, we have to move toward a system of excellence. They're good working people, good hard people in the sheriff's office. They are starving for leadership.
All right, thank you very much. Charles Rambo.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm going to respond to Sheriff Jackson. I mean, he said candidate, but I'm going to speak up as retired Lieutenant Charles Rambo. Nobody's attacking staff. I helped train a whole bunch of those staff and still do in jail management. Nobody's attacking Chief Adjutant. In fact, at the end of the day, nobody's attacking you because at the end of the day, I understand what you guys are dealing with. I worked in a major county jail that housed people charged with serious felonies and misdemeanors. With that, I'm just trying to understand if we went from a consent decree order in terms of coming from up out of it, how did we go right back in less than 2 to 3 years into barbaric, or however way you want to describe it, as described inside of these particular orders and these particular groups that came and actually investigated. What I bring differently is, again, having to actually have managed inside of that jail, even back during the days when it was super overcrowded with 3,900 inmates, and we only had 15 people to show up for work. We got things done based upon camaraderie. The second thing is that into Sheriff Jackson's administration, I introduced a system called CompStat that helped to bring the jail from out of consent decree, into consent decree compliance up to 97%. That was never heard of from his administration back forward. So I take pride in having served with you. I'm just trying to figure out, where did it all go that we now have a jail that's back on the market, even as evidence on 60 days in that it was not the model facility that you and I put into work to get done.
Great, thank you very much. Now I'm going to go to some of the questions from our participants. This one for you, Sheriff Jackson. What, if any, programs have you implemented for youth to help them to be engaged in local law enforcement and the need to avoid incarceration? It's for you, but everybody has the chance to answer this question also. Sheriff Jackson.
Well, one we're most proud of is called the Youth Intervention Program. And this program is for 10 to 18-year-olds, where we spend the day with them with their parents in the morning, and we take them to the jail to try to encourage them to engage in good behavior. We have a program called GREAT, Gang Resistance, Education and Training, to keep young people out of gangs. We have a junior deputy program where we try to sponsor young 11 to 17-year-olds to get them engaged in maybe seeking a career in law enforcement. We have a program called HYPE for 6th to 12th graders, helping youth prosper and evolve, that we partner with Atlanta Metro College. And our main concern is giving youth information that they can't get anywhere else. And our programs, we've had our youth intervention program, we celebrated 10 years this year. Our HYPE program, 10 years last year. And so our program has been ongoing. We've had the Urban League and others come in and help us out. We realize that we always tend to lean on the youth, but sometimes it's their parents. So we brought parents into our programs so we can educate them, because it's difficult raising children nowadays because you can't touch them. And so you got to find a way to communicate, to work with them. And through our programs, we have volunteers that come in and help us and educate these young people so that they don't get involved. And in the jail, I admit that we have some serious inmates. 92% of our population are violent offenders. So we work with them with programs inside the jail. So we have programs to keep them out and programs when they get in to make sure they don't come back.
Thank you very much. Patrick Labat, would you like to talk about youth programs?
Absolutely, thank you. The one thing that we have to understand, you can do a lot of things, average, in an average manner, or you can focus on a few things and do them really well. The understanding that there's a conversation nationwide about children and their pipeline into the correctional facility. We started even younger. So we sent officers directly to the schools, Bethune Elementary, when it was open, and read with third graders. What does that look like? Really showing people, engaging our community. But the most success we've had was with our Junior Correction Academy. It's not a scared straight program. Those don't tend to work as the years have proven. Our Junior Correctional program actually engaged youth and parents. But what it did was create an environment where, yes, we showed our youth the jail, we showed them the courts, but we also took them to Charlie Brown Airport. We have to provide hope with it, where some people don't have hope, and allow them to look beyond where they are and where their circumstances are. So to look at the faces on these young ladies and young men when they see up close Charlie Brown Airport, literally Hartsville, Jackson. For us, it's not about a scared straight program. It's about exposure, giving people an opportunity, giving young kids to really look just beyond their circumstances and be exposed to different program opportunities.
Thank you very much. Charles Rambo, would you like to answer that question?
Yes, ma'am. I am strictly in the belief that our youth need to understand the law. Perfect example, when we look inside of Jewish communities, they hold what are known as bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, based upon the fact that their children have been taught the law and are held responsible for their actions thereafter. With inside of that, that's why I would love to start a Gold Star Constitutional Youth Program, that our children will be able to understand their rights, their roles, and their responsibilities, not in terms of how to avoid getting away from criminal activity, but how to participate in the criminal justice system as future judges, law enforcement officers, sheriffs, what have you. So with that, I'm looking forward, as I did, perfect example, I helped with the Fayette County NAACP, helping to expose their youth to when there was, excuse me, I'm trying to get my words right, when they were having issues in communities where Black youth were being, having bad interactions with law enforcement. I specifically did training sessions with churches, with communities, you name it, educating youth at the Fulton Leadership Academy about your constitutional rights. With that, we give our children not just local exposure, but how to engage themselves on a more global platform, because we're now an international city, international county and community, and our children need to understand it from that perspective.
All right, thank you very much. Myron Freeman.
Thank you. I think the first thing is that Black lives does matter. And what we need to do is to teach our young people how to respond to law enforcement. They need to learn how to respond. Unlike my last term, that would be something that I'm going to do and make sure that we teach them how to respond and to the law enforcement community, because they don't really know.
All right, thank you very much. We have another, I should say that question was from SO. We have another question for all of you. How would you engage your deputies to get them to buy into your leadership? And let's start with Patrick Labatt.
Again, that's a great question. I will tell you, executive level leadership matters. Having come up through the ranks, when I was a lieutenant, I did what lieutenants did. When I was a major, I did, and I thought as a major. But being a chief, you have to really understand that internally, people count on you on a daily basis. So, morale is so important, but so is obtaining an infrastructure that pays our deputies and our civilians what they're worth. So at the city, proven leadership. At the city, we fixed compression. So no sergeants were making more than lieutenants. We got everybody, except for me, a pay raise not once, but twice, because that's how you partner with, at the time, 15 city council individuals, city council members. But for me, it's about creating partnerships and relationships before you need them. So we move into an environment where the 7 commissioners, we have to take pride in having individual conversations. That's something that just, if you talk to a commissioner, it simply does not happen because they want to support our local law enforcement and our deputies. Again, it starts with an internal review and really a financial audit of where we are so that we can fix where we are. Here's the other thing that I did as chief. I set up an open door policy anytime, any day, on Wednesday specifically, 9 to 10, anybody in the Fulton County Sheriff's Office will be able to come and have a conversation. And what you find is people really want to have a conversation about their family and have a conversation about graduations, birth, those kinds of things, new parents. People simply just want to be heard most of the time, but we have to be really, really considerate of our staff and bring it to a close, understanding that executive leadership matters.
Thank you very much, Charles Rambo. And I want to repeat the question again. How would you engage your deputies to get them to buy into your leadership? And Vivian Bradford asked that question.
Yes, ma'am. First and foremost, wherever leadership is present, everything begins to change. And I've hallmarked that through my career, 30 years, 25, let me make reference on that, 25 years with inside of the Sheriff's Office, along with 5 years of still teaching at the Academy. I am still one of the highest rated and most respected instructors there is because I know how to connect with the needs of the cadets, with the veteran officers. With that, I've also been the president of the International Brotherhood of Police Officers. So I've also helped to get salary increases. I've also helped them in times of need. With that is that this sheriff's office needs someone from within inside, someone who has come up through the ranks and has gotten results wearing this particular badge. This badge means a lot, and it takes for someone to come in who knows the duties, the roles, the responsibilities, and has the exact certifications on day one that can put his plan into action and hold people accountable. With that, I've also participated in training thousands of millennials. So I'm not one of those type of persons that's out of touch in terms of generational gaps. I know how to bring people together and get things done with accountability and transparency. That's my particular mantra is that when I'm present, people know already what my management style is and how we're going to get things done through constitutional standards.
Thank you very much. Myron Freeman.
Well, I would answer that by the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. And you have to inspect what you expect. I've been a trooper, a corporal, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain, a major, lieutenant colonel, deputy commissioner of the Georgia Department of Public Safety, all over the state. You have to work, you have to go see what's going on. Like my grandmother said, a clock that don't even work is right twice a day. So listen to the people doing the job because they know what they need.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you finished?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. The Sheriff Ted Jackson.
Okay, again, my 12th year as sheriff, and I consider myself an insider, I'll just say that. But we know that we can't work with our employees. We work on morale. We know that people have problems, we work with them. We have a command staff. Internally, the 4 commanders have an average of 30 or more years inside. So they're the insiders. We've had almost an 80% turnover since I've been sheriff, and we respect every employee that we have. I can't get around to every one of them like I would like to, but I do the best I can. They know they have an open door. They can stop me at any time. I walk around, they can talk to any of us. Our staff, we all know we have to work harder to represent our employees. We've gotten pay raises. We just had one that was coming that we had to put on the back burner because of the cost with the COVID-19. What you heard earlier about the hazardous pay, the county manager was responsible for getting that through. I talked with him personally. The way the county works, the county manager is responsible for the day-to-day operation of the county. So a good sheriff will have a relationship with the county manager, work through the county manager's office and talk with the commissioners, but the county manager makes the presentations. The county manager is the starting point for anything that happens in the sheriff's office. And the relationship we have works. Not only did we get hazardous pay, we got $750 a month, which is the highest in the region. And for a candidate to say that person was responsible for getting this, you have to be on the inside to get something like that. So as an insider, I know the truth. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We want to be respectful of everyone's time, so we are winding down. And so at this point, we're going to end the questions. I hope that if you ask the question that you'll be able to reach out to some of the candidates through their websites and through other means. There are some questions asked that maybe the candidates will have a chance to answer in our the Q&A portion of this Zoom. But right now, each candidate will have the 2 minutes to give a closing statement. And let's begin with, let's begin with Charles Rambo.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from us all, and I hope that you have had an opportunity to at least take a look at our websites to see who has an actual plan to get things done, not just before COVID-19, but where we are and where we're going after this. That's what it requires, is a person who has vision, who has exact sheriff's expertise in the duties, the responsibilities, the role, and not afraid to step up as the chief law enforcement officer of the county. That's where I can differentiate myself in between the incumbent as well as candidates, as I'm not afraid to be able to say that. That does not mean that I'm not going to be cooperative, but I'm elected by you. And I serve you specifically, that when you call upon your sheriff, the chief law enforcement officer of your county, to get things done, I'm day one ready to do that. I have a plan. I have all certifications that are necessary, that on day one, I am ready to get involved and active with the communities and get this sheriff's office back on track to serving you directly and not the status quo. My name is Charles Rambo. You can visit my website at ramboforsheriff2020.com, and I approve this message.
All right, thank you very much. Myron Freeman.
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to say that sheriff's chair belongs to the voters of Fulton County. I work for the voters, I work for you, and I'm concerned about what you're concerned about. And also, you can go to my website, www.votesheriffreeman.com, or you can go to my Facebook page, it's Myron Freeman for Fulton County Sheriff. It's going to take all of us working together. It's called team. Together, everyone accomplishes more. The citizens need to know the power they have in that chair. And you can talk to me now, just like you're talking to me now, you can talk to me then. My phone number is 404-702-6829. I want to hear from you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Sheriff Ted Jackson.
Leadership is very critical and important. I provided leadership for almost 12 years. I'm the first one in, the last one to leave. I worked very hard for the people of Fulton County. What you've heard today is, some of it is not factual. So what I will say to you is to go to my website, www.reelectsheriff.tjackson.com, or to the website of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, fultoncountysheriff.gov. .org, O-R-G. Being the Fulton County Sheriff is a really complex job. You got 1.1 million people in the county, 19 police chiefs, the district attorney, and what I couldn't do today is describe everything we're doing. But I tried best as I could to talk about the details of what we do as a sheriff's office. We should have a sheriff's office you should be proud of. There's been no scandal or anything embarrassing. I know there's been embellishments on the conditions of the jail. It's not true. The facts are the facts, and you can see the facts by visiting the websites. Thank you for this opportunity, and please look at all the candidates, select the one that with the experience, with the one that's done a good job for you for almost 12 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Patrick Labatt.
Thank you again. Executive leadership matters. All of Fulton County and the Fulton County Sheriff's Office should have an active and engaged leader, a hands-on leader. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office should set the tone for law enforcement around the state. I do want to applaud the incumbent for his 50 years in law enforcement, but it's time for change. I have a right now plan. I've spent my career building partnerships and my plan includes relationships, not just partnerships. And so we'll lean in on those relationships. I've already met with multiple mayors. I've already met with police chiefs. And to execute this plan, I need your support. And one more thing before we leave. I just received the endorsement, both locally and nationally, of IBPO. You heard someone mention IBPO earlier, the International Brotherhood of Police Officers. I have their endorsement and their full stand. So I need your support, your vote for change on Tuesday, June 9th. Please visit us at labattforsheriff.com and on all social media platforms at Labatt for Sheriff. Thank you, and please stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our candidates this evening. I appreciate your candor and also allowing us to get to know you better. Once again, we had quite a few questions. We weren't able to get them all in during this time period, but I hope that those of you who have been participants will reach out to them through their websites and through other means to get the answers that you need before you go to the polls. I'll turn it back over to Daphne and Demita now.
Okay, thank you so much, Donna, for doing another amazing job with our candidate forum. And thank you to the candidates for taking out time of your busy day to come and speak to well over 150 attendees that have attended. I just want to kind of share one more time that in the Q&A section, there's a few questions there. If you have a chance, you can go over and type in some answers really quickly while Demita and I are about to close things out. You do have a few questions that gives you a little opportunity to share your answers and responses with some voters right here in this group. But before I turn it over to Demita, I would like to give the NAACP, the president, Richard Rose, and or Karen Renee an opportunity to speak and address everyone before we close it out. So if you all would like to unmute yourselves and provide some closing remarks as well. And we like to thank you again for supporting this initiative. We are very honored to have you here. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hey, I want to again thank these candidates for offering to represent the citizens of Fulton County. I want to thank the co-hosts for their hard work, and of course our moderator did an exemplary job. And the candidates answered very well. I hope people got a good chance to listen to them and listen to what they want to bring to Fulton County in terms of service, because it's a very, very, very important position. At the NAACP, you know, we get 1,000 calls and emails every month for various reasons. And law enforcement is just so very important. And our duty as citizens is to pick the right leaders. So I want to urge everybody to come out and vote. I hope people got their ballots in the mail, return them, the application ballots for absentee ballots, return them, and let's vote. Let's have a great turnout, because this is about this is our community, and it's our responsibility to make our voices heard. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank all of you who were listening, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Do you have any words you'd like? No? No? Okay. All right. So Demita, do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to say?
Yes, thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Donna, and thanks for the candidates. I thought it went well. Thank the candidates for giving the people the opportunity to hear from you guys. I want to thank Mr. Rose, Miss Renee, thank you. And Daphne, you just have the heart. Donna, thank you for being a great moderator. I missed the other night because I couldn't get on, but I heard good reviews, and we look forward on giving our residents the facts. The group that I started was Citizens of Excellence in Elected Leadership, and my goal is to hold all candidates that's in office, elected officials, accountable. So again, I want to thank you all for doing a great job. Be safe.
Thank you, Demita. And before we leave, I want to remind everyone that you will receive, for registering, you'll receive a link that would allow you to have access to this entire forum. It has been recording that you can not only have for yourselves, but you can actually share it with your family, friends, and whomever else you would like to share that with. We do have another forum coming up. It is on April the 28th. This one will be with school board, those that are running for school board, Fulton County School Board. And we look forward to hosting that on next Tuesday, April the 28th. There is a separate registration link for that. That is for security purposes. So we appreciate everyone's willingness to register every single time, but it ensures that our forum is held at the highest safety and security. So again, thank you all for coming out. We look forward to going to the polls and casting our votes. and we wish you all the best. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.